Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Network Merchandise Shop. Check out our large assortment of logo merch and our lifestyle collection as well. Just head over to abvnetwork.com and click on shop. We are also sponsored by The Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers a fully customizable carrying case that allows you to take your favorite distilled spirits or cocktail ingredients with you. Whether you're looking for yourself, a customized gift, or logo items for your business or event, The Bar to Go can help. Check them out at thebar2go.com. Use the number 2 when you type out The Bar to Go. Did you know Neely Family Distillery now ships its popular distilled spirits directly to you? To order, simply call 859-394-3258. Tell them the ABV Network sent you. And now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we will be discussing. We will be serving as therapists for MGP as we attempt to see if we can identify exactly who they are, because they sure as hell don't seem to know. My name is McNew. Please join me in welcoming my co-host, Steve Ackley, along with our special guests, Matt Bay, Jim Posnot, and Danny Kennard.
Hey, gang, what's up?
Oh,
hey, how you doing? Hell, you may want to read stuff beforehand, I think.
Yeah, professional there.
I think it was right. You were trying to read and then read something.
No, that's on me. You wrote it correctly.
For once. Usually I make the mistake.
You wrote it correctly this time, Steve.
Yeah, most of the time. That's why I had to quickly look. Did I screw this up? But then I looked. I was like, no, it seems fine. So we'll get into MGP and what's going on with them. That's such an interesting company because they're so big. They've helped so many companies get into the whiskey business. And are they doing a great job for themselves, though? I don't know. That's what we're going to try to get to the bottom of. We'll get to that after the break. For right now, McNew said there's something she wanted to talk about. What is that, McNew?
Yeah, so just recently, my husband and I, we did the billets, bourbon and barrels and billets right next to the Louisville Slugger Museum. It's brand new in Louisville. Yes. It was fun. So they let you kind of make your own custom bourbon, but they only give you 6 different selections to blend together, which is fine. That's really more than enough because you could use all 6 if you wanted to. Yeah. But it was fun. We actually came up with some good ones, and I was excited about mine. My husband made a different one. We both bought both bottles. But it felt a little bit like a whiskey factory because we're talking about how like MGP is a whiskey factory. So it felt like, hey, I want these 3 blends in my thing. They literally make it in the back. They have you mix it, right? Like they give you like milliliters to mix with, and they're like, oh, they'll do the math for you back there. And then they get you a whole bottle of whatever you decided to put in it, like in minutes. It was fascinating, really.
Oh. And I think that's going to be the next newest big thing in bourbon. I don't know that it appeals to people like us that are on this thing. Maybe one time as a novelty.
I thought the whole time because we had a host that put us in, that she seated us, she told us what we'd be doing. Then they put on a video and it was like 51% corn, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, people who are doing this class don't need to know that. Like we already know. Right. So it was a little bit annoying to me.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it was a video, I'm like, I want a host in here. I want somebody interacting with me. I don't want to watch a video telling me I have 10 minutes to mix this and 20 minutes to mix that. So
what I think of that is, here's what I think of it. Not a bad idea. And I do think it's going to draw a lot of people to whiskey, but here's what I think of it. I think it appeals to, I'm married and my wife has a sister and her sister has a husband. So, and his parents. So my in-laws, my sister-in-laws, so that's if you follow that, they like going around and doing some whiskey stuff. They drop my name everywhere. Now I only meet them at like my niece's birthday party and stuff like that. They're not related to me really in any way. But they like going to and doing some whiskey stuff. I could see them doing that and then printing out, because you print out the label and it's their custom thing. They're just enough whiskey fans where it seems kind of cool. I did this blend myself. Would you like to try it? I think that's who it appeals to the very, very casual whiskey fan.
Yes, and that's
your own blend, create your own label, and I think it's very cool for that. Yeah, that's
I don't know if I agree with you, Steve. I think we're the hardcore whiskey fans that are on here talking right now. Like we know whiskey. Like I don't need to do another distillery tour. I mean, I like to see the stills, but don't take me through the basics. I can take again don't tell me the rules of bourbon. I can freaking sleep. But we're the exception. I think it's kind of the concept of basically the Maker's Mark Private Select, how they're doing the mix there. That's kind of what they're doing on a individual level for people, which I think is a cool concept. I'd do it once. Again, I don't want to sit through the class.
Doing it once. We're doing it once, yes.
But if you get everybody on the Bourbon Trail come through and do that once, that's a lot of freaking people that are coming through there. So I don't think you're going to do it over and over again. Although you might bring your buddy, hey, I did this, it's really cool. Next time you come through, we need to go do this. I do agree with McNew. If you get a host, you get someone who's entertaining up there to speak, as opposed to the video. We've all been, there's some tours, in Louisville that are fantastic just because who's taking on the tour, and there's some that are automated that are horrible. And even though their whiskey might be good, it'd be the same thing. If you have the right person doing it, that could be a really, really fun experience. You bring like Heidi just did the whole bridal shower thing. You get a bunch of, a bachelor party coming through, and they want to create a bottle for their.
But it's the novelty of the event. I'm a whiskey fan. I'm a guy who cares about whiskey. Do you think you're getting really good whiskey there, Jim? You think it's like they've sourced this from Michter's and it's Michter's American whiskey? No, it's shitty whiskey they're
actually producing it themselves. And I was surprised because I was telling Chris, I was like, this has to be sourced from somewhere. It's not. It's produced and bottled by themselves. They're making it right there. Which
it doesn't say distilled. It says produced. Produce is different. They're sourcing it from somewhere.
You're right.
Yeah,
so, I don't know
that's one of those tricky words where you instantly think they're. But
you're right. You're right.
Yeah,
I don't get to agree with you, Steve. I'm saying the concept I think is great. I'm not saying their execution is. I think it's going to be a cash cow that I would love to have been a part of from the ground floor if I was,
Well, here's the thing. Go on their website. They are franchising it. So if you want to open a franchise, you can. So that tells you where this thing's going. It's going to be the McDonald's of bourbon experiences.
I kind of hate it now because it was cool because it was next to the Slugger Museum and that played in well together. Yeah. But now I don't want it to be a franchise. I like that one location. So
and they're not the only ones doing it. I mean, Bourbon 30 does it. So that's the first one I heard of doing it. And they make some decent whiskey. I'd like to send someone like Justine to make that because they do the same thing. You create the blend and then they put it together. And I think we're going to do that. I just think it's going to be a trend, and I don't think it's a bad thing for bourbon, but I also don't think it's also a great thing if you're truly a big time bourbon fan, other than the novelty of going through the process.
Yeah, the novelty was fun, but Chris had more fun than I did with it, honestly, because I'm more involved, I guess.
Because you're drilling barrels all the time, you're drinking, you get
to stories where you do that kind of stuff. I was so mad about the video. She seated us, she left, and I'm like, it would be better if we had a host. And he's like, well, you've done barrel picks. You're used to having somebody and interacting. He's like, it didn't bother me. But I was like, that's rude. You're going to just leave and make me watch a video?
The movie's lame. That's pretty lame, yeah.
But Steve, imagine you every couple years you've done where you do a blending contest on the ABV network.
Yes, every year, yeah.
So if you did that kind of thing there with your bourbon group, you bring, 20 people through or whatever, and you guys all make your own blend, and then you do a blind tasting at 2 months later with your bourbon group, and who won the best bottle, like when Heidi and I did with the Maker's Mark pick.
That would actually be fun.
Yeah, there's definitely ways to make it fun for sure, and I'm not complaining about the business. I think it's a good business. I think it will draw some people that we might not normally get. I just don't think this is a life changer for me. I honestly do not think that.
Not for me either. But
I don't think in any way this makes me more excited about whiskey, or I'm going to go do this a bunch of times. But yeah, no, it's.
But what if it was a really good whiskey, though? What if it was a really good whiskey? And
so if Michter's does it and they're willing to put out their rye and all their different stuffs and single malts and all, they put out all that stuff, or Adam Stump decides to do it with all. I
was just going to say Adam Stump or Neely's or one of them do that.
What if Maker's Mark did it with their private select? You could do it a single bottle at a time at the distillery. That same concept, but you could go on a tour, and that's how you ended the tour was doing that bottle just like she did there.
That's kind of cool.
Well, I mean, look at Neely Family Distillery, right? You go in there, you take the tour. It's a video, and then at the end of it, you have the option of doing a thief out of that one select barrel that they have sitting by the door.
Mm-hmm.
It's an experience. Now, I don't care where it is or who it is. It's an experience, and that's what everybody wants is that experience, and to have your name on it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they can't do the makers thing. It's not a bad idea, but they really can't do it because they'd have to change the program. Because now, when you pick a barrel, they then age that. So I guess they would already have those done.
I get it. That's my point, though. Like that quality of whiskey, if it's some version of that at a major distillery.
Yeah, maybe
Making your own little book. Here's what he blended.
Yeah, now that would be fun.
Here's the 5 whiskey he used. You pick the proportion for your own chapter of Little Book.
Yeah, I talked to Freddie about that when they initially they thought about doing that for the first year. They weren't going to give you the percentages. They were just going to give you the kit, and then you could blend it yourself. Whatever you come up with. They weren't going to tell you exactly how it broke down. And I don't know. I still think that's a good idea. I mean, I'd like to get to that. But again, those are very good whiskeys. I mean, right. That's very interesting stuff. So that to me, that's exciting. Our contest is very cool too, because not only are you getting good whiskey to begin with, you're getting Neely Family Distillery, you're getting Stumpy Spirits.
Right.
You're also competing against a person who does blending for a living. So this year you got to beat Jason Browning, who's the master blender for Buzzard's Roost. That's part of the competition. I mean, yeah, you got to beat that guy. And so far, we've our amateurs have always beat the pro. So Adam Stumpf got beat, and Royce Neely got beat. So. It's interesting. So, yeah, we've got people lined up that want to they want to be the master blender in the contest, which is kind of cool. So we got a couple of years lined out here. So it's cool stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right. 4 tickets available to that left. Check us out at Steve Ackley on eventbrite.com. It is time to drink. What is everyone drinking? We're starting with Jim. Jim has it going first. Let's see what he's got.
I'm going to go with some MB Rolling. So
MB Rolling. I like MB Rolling.
It's a new bottle, so we'll see how we do here.
Okay. Oh, get your screw tops out, folks. It's going to be tough to beat. I've got 1920 here, halfway full. Let's see here. I'm not beating that, but I'm going to try. Nah, nothing. That's fine. I don't mind losing because I can't. That'd be almost impossible to beat. All right, Old Man Bay, what do you got?
I am drinking, one of my favorites is the Toasted Barrel Straight Rye Whiskey from Buzzard's Roost.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Nice base, better than mine, but not as good as Jim's. McNew, you're next.
So I actually have my own blend. It's McNew's Master Blend.
Okay. No, not enough. Did Chris do one too, or did you just do the?
Yeah, we both did one, and you have the option to buy them or not. We bought both of ours. Okay.
Whose is better, yours or his?
We haven't tried them side by side since we brought the bottles home. I might do that later, I'll send you blind samples and you can tell me which one.
Okay, yeah. Why don't we do that? We'll do a little mini event and we'll.
What did he name his?
Half anniversary 2022 because it's our half year anniversary.
Oh, how sweet is that?
Yeah, he's
a couple of young kids in love. I love it.
I just named mine after myself. He makes his.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Danny, what do you got?
Well, I've got a 3-year-old craft it's called Looking Batch Road Whiskey.
Looking Batch Road Whiskey. Okay. Let's see that label again. It doesn't help the studio.
Is it like Dublin Dice?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've never tried it.
Lukenbach, like Lukenbach, Texas. It looks like Lukenbach.
Lukenbach Road Whiskey. Okay. The bottle is good looking. I'll say that. The bottle looks really nice. Danny buys the weirdest stuff. I never hear half the stuff Danny's got. So
it looks like an old Hulk bottle.
Yeah. Danny, that was really good. Really good. Jim's was great though. So you wasted a good one there, man. You got second place. So there you go. Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we are going to be the therapist for MGP. We'll do that in just a few. Hello, this is Steve Ackley of the ABV Network. Let's talk about the people who make this show happen. First up is Leatherwood Distillery in Pleasant View, Tennessee. Company founder Andy Lang started distilling as a hobby while serving his country as an elite Green Beret. Andy distilled all over the world during his time in the military and brought this passion back to him in the U.S. when he returned home. A visit to Leatherwood combines Andy Lang's unique distilled spirits and a museum of artifacts from his time serving the U.S. Share a drink with a fallen soldier at their bar where you can grab an acrylic bio off the wall that celebrates the individuals who gave the ultimate sacrifice to protect his or her country. They will also ship their distilled spirits directly to you, so check them out at leatherwooddistillery.com. Hi, this is Steve Ackley, owner of the ABV Network. We're sponsored by the Stave and Thief Society. This is where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge a bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my Executive Bourbon Steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification program available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Okay, let's talk about Neely Family Distillery. In 2018, I met Royce Neely at an industry event. He started appearing on our shows, and we became friends during my frequent visits to Kentucky. Today, he's leading the way for young distillers making their mark on the bourbon industry. A visit to Neely Family Distillery combines family history, a look at what makes their products unique, and of course, a tasting through their whiskeys, moonshines, and creams. Check them out at neelyfamilydistillery.com and visit them in Sparta, Kentucky.
Freddie Mills of Ruse.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we are trying to help out MGP.
Yes, we are. So I put together kind of a list here that I'll go through, and then we'll kind of talk about MGP and who we think they are. So I just did this. Is MGP, are they the best distillery outside of Kentucky? Or are they the worst Kentucky distillery because they aren't even in Kentucky, but they basically follow everything that happens in Kentucky? They're on that scale as the large Kentucky distilleries. They're very close to Kentucky. You know, they're within minutes from the Kentucky border. So are they the best distiller outside, or are they the worst Kentucky distiller? Or are they the makers of the best Pennsylvania rye? They do that 95.5 recipe. That's what they're known for, which would be known as Pennsylvania rye. But the problem is they aren't in Pennsylvania. Are they the source for those that don't want to make their own distillate? But you know, if they're the source for everybody who doesn't have their own distillate, they don't have any older stock anymore. You know, now you used to see, it would be nice to get that old MGP, 12 and 14-year-old MGP. You don't see that around anymore. Now you see 2-year-old MGP or 4-year-old MGP. It's just not there. Are they successful purveyors of whiskey brands like George Remus, Eight and Sand, which is being discontinued, Rossville Union Rye? Well, or is that who they are, or is it the company that changed its name to Ross and Squibb for the distillery, and Luxco now runs those brands? They don't even run their own brands; they turned it over to Luxco, the company that they bought out. They don't really have a consumer personality. No tours, no master distillers, just a series of master blenders. A whole group of people. You know, they used to have some of the biggest distilling names in the business there. People like your buddy Greg Metzi. He was there, and Larry, he was there too. So yeah. Are they providers of whiskey for Luxro brands like Ezra Brooks, Rebel, David Nicholson, and Limestone Branch, Yellowstone, and Minor Case? Well, we haven't really seen any changes there. We thought, wow, they're going to have access to what's left of those older stocks. Well, it's not like we've seen a 14-year-old Yellowstone come out or something like that, or, you know, an Ezra Brooks that's super aged or something like that, where it's like, well, they're using that stock. We know where they got that stuff at. We haven't really seen any changes in that. So who is MGP these days? And are they doing a good job, or are they not doing a good job? What do you guys think?
Are they putting all these older barrels into what they consider their George Remus line?
I don't know.
So that's what I'm saying is that they're trying to come out with their own brand.
Yeah.
They came out with 3, right?
Well, those brands have been around since before Luxco bought them out.
Right.
True.
That's what I'm saying is.
I'll respond to that. I'll be the MGP response to that. No, and here's why, Danny. As much as we know George Remus and stuff like that, you know, they're only in 14 states. So it's not like it's everywhere. So the fact they haven't pumped all of this old whiskey into that because they're making a brand that is actually in the scheme of things, actually pretty small, not much bigger than a medium-sized craft. I bet you Wilderness Trail is in more states than that. Wow. So, you know, or our friends at New Riff. So to think that, well, yeah, we know where that older stock's going, and really, Remus is going to be a relatively small brand, even though because they're in Missouri, we see it, and they have a presence here. They've done events here and stuff like that, but we get a little bit fooled by that. They're not everywhere. That Remus is not can't be found all across the U.S.
What's crazy with MGP to me, you take any other large scale distillery, anybody their size, they all have heritage brands that everybody knows.
Yes.
The average whiskey fan can tell you Beam products, Buffalo Trace products, Heaven Hill products. How many of them can name stuff coming out of MGP? 9 out of 10 people couldn't name 8 in Sand. Not a chance. Right. Even George Remus would be a tough one, which that was just a failure on their part. They should have at least 3 or 4 heritage brands by now. They've been around forever.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that Luxco kind of changes their direction with it and does that. But so far, I'm not real happy that the name they chose to change them to, I think, sucks.
Ross and Squibb? You don't think that's a...
I will never call it by this name.
No, me either.
I will never use this name.
It'll be MGP to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can correct me and I'll be just like, okay, it's MGP. Yeah.
I just think on every level they've missed the boat, especially with the bourbon boom. From a tour standpoint, like there's not many cooler facilities out there that are unique.
Yeah.
If you get the MGP, it's a beautiful campus. I've never seen so many bricks in my life.
Jim, we got to see it, and wouldn't every bourbon fan like to go walk through there and see that?
Yeah,
the thing that's unique
about that on Friday, Steve. Like, even if they don't want to show you the production, why don't they put in a museum? They could just do a museum forever. You could absolutely be a museum thing for tours.
But why wouldn't they at least turn and build a facility where they could show off their George Remus line?
I don't know.
But
something like that. I mean, they're a best producer.
It's the only distillery that I know of in the country that doesn't have a cooker. They literally cook in the lines while they're pumping it from the mash to the still. It cooks in the lines.
Really?
Yeah.
It's different. It's so unique. Yeah.
And I had no idea until we toured it. That's how they did it. It's just there's so many unique things there, and it's such a massive, unbelievable scale that they're doing it on that it's just. To me, they just missed the boat completely on tours with the bourbon boom in the last 8 years. Like it's almost not that it's too late to do it, but how does the amount of money they're missing out on? If
Danny, you're a bourbon fan who travels. If MGP announced that they're doing tours and it's going to be $25 a person, and Misty wants to go too with you, she doesn't even drink, and so you're going to be in this thing for $50 just walking in the door. Would you do it?
Yep.
Hell yeah, as would every other bourbon fan.
Exactly.
Imagine all that money. Take all your bourbon fans times $25, and there you go.
Because just like I've gone to Neely's, I've gone to Peerless, I've gone to everybody else. She pays for the ticket. Yes, they charge me full price.
Right.
But then I also make sure they pour her samples, and I get
Of course.
Exactly.
So it's not a waste. It is not wasted.
Wouldn't that be logistically be kind of hard for them to do because of the confidentiality agreements between the contract people, contract brands?
No, because what
I don't know how do they mark their barrels or
by number. So yeah, unless you break into their system, their computer system, you're just seeing barrels with codes on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
having every major distillery contracted stills, so you're going through Heaven Hills or Woodford or Bardstown, whatever, they're all distilling stuff for other people. So what's the difference?
Yeah, that's true.
So I want to say though, like MGP is still making good whiskey though, right? Like those older barrels are gone, but you're still getting 2, 3, 4-year-old barrels. So even new brands, like sometimes I'll just buy shit because I'm like, that's a cool label. Like the Off Hours bourbon, it's a weird label. I liked it, so I bought it. Turn it around, distilled in Lawrenceburg, that's MGP.
Right.
They're still making good whiskey, even when it's young whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So they're good at what they do. So maybe they just want to be a whiskey factory. Maybe that's all they want to do. And
they make over 90% of rye that are on the market comes out of MGP.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah. But that place is so big. Like Jim and I, we went into the, where they got the mashers, and they're like, well, this is one of, I don't know, four of these. It was massive, huge, just as many mash tanks as you can imagine. It's as far as the eye can see, and they're like, we got multiple ones of these. This is just so
37,000 1,000 gallons. It was just ridiculously size.
The size. So, I mean, they could do a tour easy enough where they're not even stepping over themselves. They just plot out which day they're not working out of that room, take you into that room. I mean, they could do a tour and experience if they wanted to. I don't know why they don't want to, but I think that they
want to be a factory. Are you going to like go tour a Toyota factory? No, like they don't.
Yeah, but how many? If you're a Toyota nerd.
Yeah, there's not really Toyota nerds. Would you tour the Corvette Museum if you're a Corvette? Yes.
Yeah,
would you
Harley Davidson
factory? Yes. Hell yeah.
And forget that part of just the money that they're leaving on the table.
Right.
Like, point before, like who would pay for it? Like everybody, not only are you buying the tickets, you're buying the product, and then that's building a loyalty for that product as well. Like that, to me, the fact they don't have heritage brands that are just, in every 50 states on the shelf and fly out the door, like a Buffalo Trace, a Jim Beam, a Heaven Hill, like that doesn't exist for the size of that distillery is crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I said when we went on that campus, Jim, if you'll remember, it goes for miles and miles. I mean, this place is huge. You could curate something too that is, they could come up with different experiences if they wanted to that go beyond anything that anybody's ever done in whiskey before.
And if they had a tour, like, so Lawrenceburg is a little bit of like a tourist trap river town. So the casinos are there.
Yeah, restaurants are there.
There's a year-round ski resort there. So they make their own snow. It's cool. But like you could get those people like, hey, I came into town for the casino or the ski resort, but hey, I can take a whiskey tour. Why not? I'm here. Like they're missing those people too. Like,
and it's right on the river. Like their flood walls are built into the building.
Lawrenceburg is literally on that river.
Can the average Joe book a tour? Because I can't find anything about it.
No, they don't do that. They used to never do tours. The first tours that they ever started doing was media tours, and I got to go on one of those, which is very cool. I got one of the first people to take a tour. And then a couple of years ago, before the pandemic, they opened it up for people doing barrel picks. So I got to go with Jim and Total Wine when they went there and did that. And now they're not. I don't even know that they're doing barrel picks right now. So they haven't done tours again since the pandemic. So since 2020.
Would have been the perfect time for them to build it out for tours. Like that'd have been the perfect time to go. Let's be ready for the pandemic's over to approach our customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, they've got a very good line, I think, of the Remus stuff, but
yeah. To McNew's point, though, imagine a museum. They have a lot of history there. They've got some of the greatest distillers that have helped out there. So you got stuff like that. Imagine an awards hall where they have all the awards that the source brands that they've got won. Again, even if you can't say them, you can say, hey, we won 8 double golds in San Francisco last year. All the awards from all the years would be amazing. If you could see, I bet you MGP is probably easily the most awarded distillery in the business.
That hall would be never ending. Like that's going to be like a 3-mile long hall.
Like if they set up a Fraser Museum hall.
Right.
That would be cool.
Yeah, they could do some really neat stuff. So
from a historic standpoint, that was Hiram Walker before, was it? Like Hiram Walker.
It was Seagram's. It was Seagram's.
Before MGP.
Yeah, it was Seagram's.
Yeah, Seagram's.
So I mean, it's been around for
forever. Yeah.
1848?
Something like that. Yeah.
1848. I think it was.
Right. Yeah.
I've never seen more bricks on one campus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, for me in MGP, of course, I'm pretty new to bourbon or whatever, but I find that a lot of the things, my favorite bourbons come from MGP.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think MGP gets a shit sandwich a lot of times. And, and it's not really, I've been doing a lot of research on this anyway, but if the company is not going to, or the label, the brand, if they're not going to be transparent about it, then they're the ones who are being shady about it. It isn't MGP, but it could be a damn good bourbon.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, that's our thoughts. MGP, open the doors. Or I'll tell you what, you want to outsource it? I'll give you $10 a head to take tours through there. I'll just give you $10 for every person that goes through, and I'll handle all the other details. You don't need to know what I charge for those tours, but I'll give you $10 a head. All right, we'll wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Old Man Bay, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
All social media is at Old Man Bay Signs, and my website is oldmanbayllc.com.
Oldmanbayllc.com. All right, Danny, how about you?
You can find me at Danny Kennard on Facebook.
Jim.
You can find me on Facebook at Jim Fosnot, on Instagram at FozJim, Fazzjim, or every Friday night hosting Jim's Big Pours. You can find your tickets on Eventbrite.
All right, yeah, check him out. He's doing some good stuff with his whiskey event. So yeah, exciting. All right, McNew, how about you? Where can people find you?
I am on Instagram at McNew ABV.
All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find. I'm at Steve Ackley on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveackley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check it out because everything that we do is out there. Previous shows, blogs, so much more, abvnetwork.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I would like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review. That includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theABVNetwork.
All right, great job today, gang. For our audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
Cheers.
Peace. Before we finish the show, let's talk about some great companies that support the ABV network. First up is Moonshine Still Pro. Moonshine Still Pro has a full line of products to help the home distiller. Whether you want to experiment on the stove in your kitchen or you're looking for a bigger setup in your backyard, owner Russell Creed and his team can help. They have multiple still offerings, accessories, and even grain from their partners at Goldstone Mill to assist you in making whiskey on par with your favorite distillery. They can also help you with some fabricated parts you probably can't make yourself if you are attempting a DIY still project. Learn more or order your still or parts at moonshinestillpro.com. Another friend of ours is the Goldstein family at Goldstone Mill. The Goldsteins offer a variety of heritage and heirloom grains to make the finest whiskeys in the world. Plus, they are more than just a grain company. They are truly consultants to make sure the grains they are providing to you or your business meet your highest expectations. Additionally, they work with mills around the country, ensuring shipping is as low as possible for their customers. If you're a distillery, brewery, or even doing this at home, Goldstone can assist you. Check them out at goldstonemill.com, call them at 217-254-6613, or check in via email at hello@goldstonemill.com.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Ackley production.